I'm Tyler Rutledge, and this is The Other Side of Success, where real people share the stories behind the spotlight, the unpolished truth, the price they paid, because the other side of success is where the real story begins. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to The Other Side of Success. My name is Tyler Rutledge, and I am your host. Woo, we got a good one today, folks. I say that every single week, but today we're going to be speaking with my friend Ryan Kinder, who is a Nashville recording artist who's toured with legends like Eric Clapton, Zach Brown, John Fogerty, Tim McGraw, and many, many more. Beyond music, he's an Ironman triathlete, a business owner, and founder of the Kinder Kids charity. This episode is about more than his resume. It's about the journey, the pain, and the purpose behind it. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. For the listeners, Tyler and I have known each other for what?
Almost 20 years.
20 years. Woof.
You started, when did you start playing in Tuscaloosa? 2006, 2007?
Yeah, it's been 20 years.
So close to 20 years. So 18. Yeah. Long time. I remember when you were the Ryan Kinder band, you know, just chasing the pipe dream, baby. And now you're living it. So
trying to be Dave Matthews, a little too hard.
You know, dude, and we'll get into this, but it's really cool. I think, you know, I don't know anything about the music industry. I take that back. I do, because I love music. So I follow so many different artists and stuff and know that it is an absolute grind. But it really is cool to see you go from playing in bars in Tuscaloosa to, you know, doing what you're doing in Nashville right now. And it's neat because I compare you to just seeing how your career has blossomed. I remember, and I know you've played here, Allie and I saw Luke Combs play at Zydeco in Birmingham, right?
Rest in peace. Rest
in
peace, Zydeco.
I know, but it's so cool to see guys like you and guys like Luke Combs, right, that is just worldwide famous, start playing in a bar. I feel like most musicians, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have to start somewhere, and it usually ain't at the top.
Yeah, we could delve into a 30-minute hour-long conversation with what you just said. There is not disparagement, but there is a disconnect on what is happening today in the music industry with TikTok and Instagram. People blow up real fast and they don't have to put in their dues. And it's a good thing and a bad thing, because some people, they know how to hold a crowd, but some artists, they blow up on TikTok and they don't understand how to hold a crowd in their hands. They don't understand how to put on a show. They don't understand the ins and outs of what it takes to be a true touring artist.
Yeah.
And there are caveats like, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Rockin' a Hard Place.
Bailey Zimmerman.
Like, yeah. He blew up on TikTok, but that boy knows how to put on a show.
Like, it's incredible. Yeah.
He's an enigma. Like he should be where he is. He knows what he's doing, but there are a slew of people that just don't understand how to do it. And
like the business side.
Well, business side and just being on stage, knowing what to do when you feel like you're losing a crowd, or if you have them all, how to keep them. And that's a skill that you gain by playing to two people at the booth or
on a Monday night.
On a Monday night, like any of those dive bars, that's where you cut your teeth. And a lot of these people don't have the opportunity to figure out who they are in that instance.
Yeah. That's incredible. So what a great intro into the show, because that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to start back at the beginning, kind of get to, okay, here's where you are now. And I cannot wait to put all your Instagram stuff in our show notes for the people that are listening out there. What you're doing on Instagram, it's incredible, because as we talked off air, you're self-producing all that, right?
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Also cool that here you are many years into your career and you're still hustling and working and adapting to the new, with the new platforms, right? Which is cool.
So you have to.
So go back to your early childhood. I read your bio and it sounds like you stopped playing baseball. You decided to quit playing baseball and you liked music, right? Or something like that happened or you didn't make the team, I think. is what it was.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was really good at baseball. I was a super fast runner. I could hit the ball. They put me in center field because they know I could get to the pop flies, but I didn't have the whole package. So they being every coach I've ever had, they said, "Hey, bunt it. Get on base because we know you can steal second, third, and then we'll pop out if we're not at 2 outs,
Right.
and we'll get a run." And I take direction pretty well. I know my strengths. So when they said that, it made sense to me. But when you get to high level travel ball or you get to high school or college ball, you have to have the whole package.
Yeah.
And I realized that very quickly that I didn't have what it took to fulfill that childhood dream of getting to the big show. And that's okay. And when I realized that, I realized it intrinsically that that's not what I wanted to do. And I'd already started playing guitar, and that's what spoke to me. It made me happy to be able to play a song and envelop a space and just capture an audience just by singing and playing and seeing what it did to people on an intrinsic and emotional level. I realized that so very quickly that I realized that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy that gives somebody a brain vacation for 20, 30, 45 hour, 2 hours at a concert. I want to be that person because once I realized I wanted to do music, I went to so many concerts, and that's what they gave me. And the first true instance of me realizing that's what I want to do, my mother took me to a concert at the BJCC in Birmingham for Eric Clapton.
Okay, here we go.
And I saw him play that show, and I realized that a 2-hour show felt like 20 minutes because that man took me to a place I'd never been. Time and space stopped, and he gave me what I just said, a brain vacation that I didn't know I needed. And I think my mother knew that too. Like, she saw that baseball wasn't going to work out. He's getting really good at guitar. We know he can sing. Let me take him somewhere and see if this is going to strike a chord, for not lack of a better term, but probably the perfect term. If it strikes a chord with him. And she's one of the smartest women I've ever known. And I feel like she knew that's what I needed. So going to that was my first concert, like true concert, by the way. And that's what changed my life.
Okay, so I'm kind of crazy minded right now. So you heard that changed your life, and then you toured with him? I mean,
yeah, years and years later, there's a lifetime of things that happened before I had the opportunity to be on the same stage with him. But there's something called the British Summertime Fest. And if you've never been to the UK in the summer, you should go because it is absolutely delightful. It is wonderful. Everybody, I mean, there's songs about how terrible the weather is in the UK. I mean, if I'm sure some of your listeners are Bublé fans, and there's a song called Foggy Day in London Town. And that's most of the weather in the UK. Foggy Day in London Town. And that's how it is. But British summertime is heaven. And that's when the concert is. So I got to go and open for Clapton, Steve Winwood, Gary Clark Jr. There's a bunch of people on the bill, and I was first on the bill. So I got to experience that and then tour afterwards. And it was a culmination of the genesis of my career.
I love it.
Coming to fruition in this just beautiful way and the most perfect place. And I could tell more stories about all the artists that I got to meet on that first show. It depends on your listenership.
Yeah.
How deep we want to get into the stories.
Well, I think we'll get into some good stuff, but I think this is like laying down the foundation, right? Because the premises of the show is that, and I know you know this, but I always like to, sometimes we'll pick up a brand new listener per an episode, is that what the outside world sees is Ryan Kinder, the social media artist, the dude with the crazy range of vocals, right? You're a triathlete, an Ironman, multi-time Ironman, worked super hard on your body, your mentals, right? but life has not been easy to get to where you are. And that's what we're going to kind of talk to. So one of the things that I wanted to figure out is you have a incredibly unique voice. It is I was driving yesterday and I was listening to some of your old stuff. Still Believe in Crazy Love is probably my favorite. Because I just resonate with those lyrics. But your vocals are crazy. And I was sitting there thinking yesterday while driving, listening to the music, I was like, I don't even know what genre you would belong in. Because like there are times that I hear some country. There are some times that I feel like I got a little indie. And then there's like, I can shred the guitar. I'm going to put you up there with Brad Paisley on your ability to play guitar.
Thank you.
And so kind. Who shaped your sound?
So, let me go back a little bit because you touched on a couple things that reminded me of a few things. You said Still Believe in Crazy Love, and a lot of your podcast talks about meaning and finding your why and the intrinsic value of why you do what you do. And a couple of years ago, I knew what I wanted to do because it made me happy, and selfishly, and it wasn't the best way to look at it at the time. I did what I did because I know I'm great at it. And that's not the best reason to do anything, but it brought me joy. And at a show, I ended with Crazy Love, and somebody came up at meet and greet at the end and told me that they were thinking about killing themselves. And they heard this song and they didn't.
Wow.
And they attest their life to that song. And that changed my entire viewpoint on what I do. I don't do it because I'm good at it. I do it because whatever song I put out is going to touch somebody in some way that's going to change their life.
There is no doubt about that.
I am here for someone else. Yeah. I am not here for myself. I am not gifted with what I can do for me. This is for somebody that needs to hear a certain song. This song could save a life. This album could put somebody on a path that leads them to success or heals them to the core. So that was a pivotal moment in my career when that person told me, and I was bawling at the meet and greet line. And my security came over. They're like, "Hey, do we need to get this person out of here?" I was like, no, get away.
Yeah, let us lean into this.
I need this moment. Yeah, because I just had a life-changing moment in understanding why am I on this earth.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people walk on this earth and never know their why, and that's how this podcast was born is, me and my own mental health journey and abuse of alcohol and really just being miserable, right? Like
let's get into that later because I'd love to talk about that, but please finish your thought.
Yeah, is being in that performance-based life. And I know in your industry, there's a lot of that's performance-based, right? You were talking about in your intake questions when you signed up to come on, you're talking about the music industry could fill days of content. You kind of graduated into the next level. Is that the dark times and bring you up to the light. So when you think about the part of the industry that hit you the hardest, is it the rejection? Is it because didn't at some point you had a record deal, lost a record deal? Like I know there was a lot of ups and downs there. So is it the rejection that hits the hardest? Is it the song that you believe in so much that you write that doesn't get picked up by whoever you present it to? Like what part of this industry is like the one that you were just like, man, this is not what I wanted it to be?
So this industry is an industry of no. You hear no 99% of the time. And you are looking for the one yes. And that's all that matters. So it's hard, but when you really get down to the brass tacks of it, you have to come to terms with yourself and this industry to understand that every no is not a no, it's a maybe. You can't stop because one person says no. They just don't see it yet. And maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's not the right person. I've had a lot of wonderful experiences and wonderful people in my life and career that have given me yes and no's. And truly, it is a crapshoot because a lot of luck plays into it. But the cream rises to the top. And at the end of the day, if you don't give up, you're going to get your shot. So the hardest part is staying mentally stable. And I want to emphasize a company that has changed my life, and we can get into the mental health and alcoholism and all that stuff after this. A very close friend of mine saw that I was having issues, and he recommended I call someone, and he gave me a number. His name's Chad Carger, and it's called Porter's Call. And Porter's Call gives help to anyone in the industry that needs counseling. And I was very adverse to the idea because I'm sure as you were raised, getting mental health help that means you're weak, and that just didn't happen. It just wasn't a thing, and that breaks my heart because who knows what could have happened if people in our life just had somebody to completely open up to, just cry about something. Just tell them about your problems and let them help you through it. And my therapist, who I love to death, I made a comment and he responded with, Ryan, I am not here to fix your problems. I am here to give you the tools to help you fix your own.
Yep. A tool belt.
And that changed my life.
For sure.
Because if I expect somebody else to fix my problems, they're never going to get fixed. Because look where at that time, look where I was, look where I am. How do I have the capabilities to help myself? I can't. I need somebody like that to give me the guidance and the path and the mindset to get to the place to where I can make the right decisions, think critically, and then I can help myself. And I can't emphasize enough, every single person in this world should at least have somebody to talk to. Just go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, I'm getting awesome. I love therapy. I'm getting fired up about it because it changed my life. And we'll get into the alcoholism thing. Like, after 2020 or during the pandemic, I was playing to 20 to 25,000 people, and not many people get to feel that high. And that is the highest of highs. Having somebody sing every word you wrote that you pulled out of your soul. Yeah, dude. Singing it back to you, and then it's gone. Like, that wrecks you. Yeah, I can imagine. And you know where I went? To the booze. Yeah. Because it made me feel okay. And God bless my wife. She saw it. Shout out Heather. If I hadn't married this woman, I would either be dead or we wouldn't be talking now because I would have no forward progress in my life. So Heather, I love you. Thank you for doing what you do. She saw the problem. A friend of mine saw the problem and pretty much forced me to go talk to somebody. And it changed my life. I see the problem now. I know how to deal with the problem now, and I know how to fix it. And that's everything. Understanding your faults, understanding what trigger is going to lead you to those faults, understanding how to take that right turn instead of the left, and making that thought process work towards progress instead of digress. Man, I had no idea that you went through that, Ryan. It was bad. It was bad, dude. Oh yeah, me too. Coming out of COVID is when Allie, just again, the importance of marrying a good woman that holds you accountable too, right? If Allie had known me in college, no chance we'd be married. Well, I give both of us a mulligan on college. I agree. Because we were running in the same circles. Like, you were coming to my shows, we were playing at Rounders. Grant was there. Yeah, like, that's what kids do. Like, we're gonna do stupid stuff. But that was also the seed that started a bigger problem. Exactly. But mine started at 14, dude. Like, college was not anything new for me other than just like I didn't have to worry about sneaking past my parents when I got home. So, well, talk to me about your journey, because this is not just a me podcast. Like, I want to hear about your journey. Absolutely. And that sounds super Baptist church.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your walk.
Well, no,
How's your walk?
No, it's so funny that you say that, because when talking about therapy and all that stuff, like, I was raised in a religious household, Christian. I am a Christian. I'm a very devout follower of Jesus, and I have not always been that way. But when you were talking earlier about like growing up, man, when we were kids, you were told, if you couldn't pray it away, then buddy, you're going to hell, right? And that's just not the case. And I fully believe that my mother and father and your mother and father did the best that they could with what they had.
I'm laughing so hard because I've heard it so many times.
Yeah. And so, like, my house, we don't abide by that. If we got some issues, we just go talk it out. But so I started drinking when I was 14, man, and a lot of stuff that happened in my life that I didn't have control over, which was coming from a divorced household. I was raised by my stepdad, whom I love. You knew me as Anderson, which is who I was in college. And then when my biological dad died in 13, I was in an identity crisis. I wanted connection to my stepdad because he raised me and I loved him, and I wanted to honor him by taking his last name. But it was all part of a bigger problem. Was I did not know who I was. I did not love me for me. I never had an opportunity to chase my dreams because I was too narrow-minded, and honestly think that there were people that were holding me back. And how did I deal with that? I started drinking at 14, and heavily, like, I don't remember any time at a high school party or a college party that, my number one goal when drinking was I'm going to go as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
There just became a point in my life where people would be like, man, like, you've got everything you could ever want. You've got a beautiful wife. At this point in time, I had Lucy, beautiful daughter, a successful business. And dude, I was miserable. I had no joy. I could not find joy. And that's when I started becoming suicidal and thinking, like, you know what? I don't really want to kill myself. However, if I'm in a wreck on the way home and I die, my family would be better off without me, right? Just total self-sabotage.
Jesus.
Yeah. And so Allie and I were in marriage counseling one day, and I knew the writing was on the wall. I wanted to stay married. I wanted to be a father. I'm still working on being a better present father because I still have distractions like my phone and the job and just the thing that the world's bring. But anyways, long story short, we left that marriage counseling session, and I knew that it was time. I had to stop drinking. There was no chance that Allie and I were ever going to repair. I was so anti-counseling. I had been in there for years, but I had lied to my therapist for years about things that I was really struggling with, right? Because I wanted to be viewed as important and
as an alcohol. If sorry to cut you off.
No, dude.
Alcoholics could make the best actors in the world.
Absolutely.
Hollywood needs to call. I mean, maybe most of the actors in Hollywood are alcoholics
or some sort of drug addict.
They're the best actors in the world. Yeah. We can hide everything.
Yep.
Sorry, please continue.
No.
I apologize.
No, dude, no. This is what's amazing about this show. It's more conversational. But so that was it, man. I escaped. I went to a tiny house in LJ, Georgia. I drank 36 beers and 72 hours and a fifth of bourbon by myself in a tiny house that I rented. And I listened to an album by Elevation Worship on repeat the entire time. And I started journaling my thoughts. And I was like, it is crazy how obliterated out of my mind I was, because I was going up there. I called it burning the bottle. I knew I was going to quit drinking, and I was going to do it cold turkey because I'm so selfish and egotistical. I had to do it my way. And
sorry, I'm listening, but I'm writing that title down.
I love it. I'll give you my notebook. I still have it from that weekend.
That is a song title.
So listen, man, I have written down in my notebook, get this to Thomas Rhett, because at one point, I don't know what song it was, but he had something that was out. I was like, yeah, because I'm so important that Thomas Rhett's going to cut my ideas. Anyways, you can cut my ideas.
Well, I'll cut it and call Thomas.
I remembered I was sitting there and I was like, I have never been so distant from reality, but I felt so because I was obliterated, but I felt so locked in, like I could feel God's presence right there in this tiny house on this deck, listening to this praise music. And it was like, as unclear as I was thinking in that moment, like I've never been so drunk, but so close to God at the same time. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it, because I was like, my brain was not functioning, but like I could think clearly about, this isn't the life that I want to live. Right. And so anyways, that was it. I cold turkeyed it. I got in my car. I was sick. the whole way home, and got home, and being again egotistical and crazy, thought that that was just going to solve all my problems. My wife was going to love me better than she's ever loved me before, and now here I am.
It's just the start.
Right, 4 years sober in May.
4 years.
Yeah, and
ladies and gentlemen watching, I hope you're clapping now. 4 years is incredible.
Well, I appreciate that. And so Allie and I still show up. We still go to marriage therapy. We're still doing our own individual work because we're committed and we believe that therapy and there's just better life out there.
I got to say, for anybody watching that is giving crap to us talking about therapy, try it.
Go try it. Yeah.
Try it and then call us back.
There's a place up there next to you that I just interviewed their alumni director on Tuesday. Her episode will go live Tuesday, but you need to listen to it. Her name is Mackenzie Vogt, and it's a getaway close to Nashville called On Site.
Yeah, and I know On Site.
Yep, and a lot of musicians come over from Nashville because it's close by. But it's a mental health retreat. It's an intensive. You can do group, you can do individual. But I did a 5-day individual intensive, and it was incredible.
On Site is unbelievable.
It's incredible. So, there's a lot of resources out there, and I agree with you. We need to encourage more dudes. Like, more dudes need to stop trying to be Macho Man, Randy Savage, and get yourself into being vulnerable and open about what you're going through is way cooler and way more macho than faking it. Would you agree with that?
Here's the thing. Let me think. Let me process this. I don't know how to say this without cursing or sounding like a prick. And it's so true to who I believe I am now. And as we grow older, we figure this out. The kids, they think they have it all together. Like we thought we had it all together when we were younger and in college. And if we had this conversation when I was playing at Rounders, I would not have accepted this. But can I cuss? Nobody gives a shit about you other than you and your family. Mm-hmm. And if doing something that makes you so uncomfortable, like going to therapy or opening your heart or being vulnerable, scares you because you think somebody else is going to judge you, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. It's not about them. Mm-mm. It's about us.
That's right.
It's about me and Heather. All I care about is that, because what I'm doing as a musician, yes, I care about every single person that wants and cares and makes the time to listen to what I pour my heart out into, but they're not here in my house 24/7, day to day, having the conversations I have with my wife, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. That's truly what life is about, being vulnerable enough to admit your faults, change yourself, and make it to where you are the best person you can be to uplift them and be a contributing member of your circle. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting mad because I have talked to people that think the same way like you have just talked about. Like, you're weak because you don't want to talk about your feelings. That infuriates me.
Right.
What gets fixed by being quiet?
Nothing.
I feel like I derailed your entire podcast.
No way, dude. This is what this podcast is all about. It's about the dark memories, the dark moments, man, the things that people don't see. And nobody sees this about Ryan Kinder. We see the music. We see the stage performance, like you're talking about, the ability to captivate a crowd and hold a crowd and stuff. Like, we see that. Anybody that listens to this can go YouTube you, Google you, listen to your music on iTunes, Spotify, wherever they get their music, and see a finished product, right? You put a song out and it is a finished product. What they don't see is the blood, sweat, tears, the mentalness, health, the lonely, the depression, the alcohol, whatever it may be that was built into that, right? And so that's what this thing's all about, man.
And there was a quote, I think it might have been Bob Dylan, or I can't remember who it was, but misery breeds genius. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. But the healing of the misery breeds healing. Mm-hmm. And some of the best songs come from fixing your problems and realizing why you were the way you were. And that might just be my philosophy, because there have been times that I've written some of the best songs I've ever written when I was just obliterated. Yeah. But some of the most impactful songs were the ones where I was with it, cognizant, and understood the problem and why I needed to fix it and how it could impact somebody by telling that message of it's okay to be in pain.
Is that where your single "What If" came from?
So what if I was,
Yeah, what if I, not what if.
well, you got it. You
What
got
if I wasn't broke?
Yeah, you got 75% of it right. Ask anybody in my closest circle and they'll tell you that I am a very indecisive person when it comes to trivial things. But if there's something that I know that is finite and I know exactly what to do, I am the most decisive person in the world. I know exactly what to do. And the indecisiveness is a huge problem. I lean on Heather daily with small stuff, huge stuff. I annoys her to no end when I ask her, like today, I've got an Ironman coming up next month. And I said, hey, do you think I should get up at 4 and ride? Or do you think it'd be okay if I went out and rode my bike at 10:30? And she was like, but
What? Like, why are you asking me permission?
are you serious?
Yeah.
Like,
Just go ride your bike.
do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Do you have something you need to do at 8 a.m.? No. Do you have something you need to do at 1 p.m.? No. Just go do it. So, sorry.
Brother, that right there, in my opinion, there's a lot wrapped into there. And this is a perfect segue into my next topic because I do want to get through to the next stuff. But that's a perfect segue from the addiction side and the performance-based life is needing somebody else's approval to do something, in my opinion. There's a lot more wrapped up in there. Should I ride my bike at 4 a.m. or at 10:30? It's this like weird, what are
I feel like I'm going to make the wrong decision.
Bingo. And with all it takes is one affirmation and you're like, okay, cool. I'll ride my bike at 10:30.
Yes. If she just said, yeah, go 10:30.
So did you go at 10:30?
I went at 10:30.
See, look at that.
But what if I came from my constant inquisitive notion of not knowing what to do? And then I wrote a whole other song that'll be on the next album called Indecision.
Yeah.
And the chorus goes, burn the bridge or turn around, fight the flame or ride it out. Time don't wait around for you to doubt what you're given. It ain't the leap or the fall. It ain't the leap or the fall. It's not leaning towards the edge at all. It ain't the right or wrong choice that makes this life we're living. It's indecision. So I wrote that by myself in a coffee shop in Oslo, Norway, because I was in that moment of life.
Great city, by the way.
Oh my gosh, beautiful. Norway is perfect.
Sorry.
But I wrote that in a coffee shop by myself because I was sitting having this conversation with myself. Like, why can't I make a decision? Let me write this song. And I wrote it in 30 minutes because it was just pouring my heart out. So I don't know if this is an addictive personality trait of not being able to hone in on deciding definitively.
I think it's self-love, a lack of being able to love yourself. And then I think because of, especially for me, using alcohol as a coping mechanism and other coping mechanisms along the way is like, I don't even trust myself. And I'm still having to therapize myself weekly so that I can learn to trust my decisions. Say, man, I am worthy. I am good. I know what I'm doing. I'm a good business owner. I'm a good husband. I'm a good dad. I can make these decisions on my own, right?
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
We'll write a song. All right. Let's jump into the Ironman because I feel like this is also an addictive personality thing. As soon as I got done with my drinking days, I took a year off from doing everything. I didn't go to the gym. I got super fat, ate whatever I wanted, and I loved every single bit of it. But then all of a sudden, fast forward to the year after that, right? And then all of a sudden now it's like I'm all in on body optimization and taking care of myself, mental, physically, all that good stuff.
You've been talking to Chris Peterson,
I have.
haven't you?
Chris is going to come on the show in July, hopefully, or if not August. But talk about his journey with the Iron Mindset. But so did your Ironman journey kind of begin through that difficulty of like, okay, I got to quit doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and pick something else up to challenge myself?
Well, the genesis of that was my wife's best friend. They cheered together at the Titans, and her husband was an avid cyclist, and they did something called the 444, which was 444 miles in 4 days. They called it the Tour de Natchez Trace. And he had cancer before and beat it. And we had become close through going to games, watching our wives cheer at the Titans games. And for some reason, I have an affinity for the mindset of a military person. I feel like I if I hadn't been a musician, I probably would have joined the military, but just because I have that mentality. And we became very close, and he got diagnosed again with stomach cancer and passed away. And he passed away before this next year's race of the 4 for 4 Tour de Natchez Trace. He was in the hospital, and obviously he wasn't going to be able to race this thing. So I said, Kyle, I'll do it in your stead. Like, I love you to death, and this is important to you. I'll get on a bike and ride this thing because you mean that much to me, and I want to carry on your legacy. And little did I know how hard riding a bike for that much every day was. Woof, it wrecked me. But on that ride, previously on all the other rides, you have the same roommate, and this one guy had roomed with Kyle every year, and we got to talking, as you do when you have 6 hours, 5, 6, 7 hours a day you're riding. He was riding this weird bike where your hands are there, the TT bike, where you're in cups. And I'd never seen that before. I started asking him, like, hey, what is that? He said, it's a triathlon bike. I do Ironmans. And Kyle actually mentioned that he wanted to do an Ironman one day. And at that point, Kyle had passed away. And in that moment, I said, I'm going to do an Ironman for Kyle. So me and Stormy, his wife, signed up for an Ironman in Florida and did it. And I caught the bug. It was the feeling you get when I walked out on the baseball diamond, like the competition, the sports mentality of I'm out here to kick ass. And I hadn't felt that since the last time I stepped on the diamond and played baseball, and I loved that. And as that continued, I realized that this was filling a hole of that need for competition and also sort of punishment to myself for the things I'd screwed up.
That's deep.
And also, Heather pointed this out to me, that this sport has made you a better person than I've ever seen you be, because it forces you to be cognizant of your time. It keeps you on a schedule, and it makes you a better person because you are fighting for something more than just yourself. Because
come on.
Every race I do, we've teamed up with the Ironman Foundation, who they raise money for underprivileged communities that we race in, give money back. They do swim clinics. They do anything and everything. I did a full in Florida after Hurricane Michael, where it just decimated Mexico Beach. And all that money went towards building new houses for people that lost everything.
Yeah.
So it was a multifaceted endeavor for me.
It's so
and
cool.
I feel like a better person when I do it. And it's not a elitist thing, because I'm not the best. I'm a great cyclist, but I get smoked every race. There is always somebody that is better than you at something in your life, no matter what. But this was something that gave me so much joy to be able to give back to communities and myself, and mainly my family.
Yeah.
Just her realizing that made me a better person, and I'm a better person for her, not for me, makes me want to race all the time.
That's cool. Is Kinder Kids still around? Is that?
It is.
Tell us a little bit about Kinder Kids, because that's a really good segue into coming from what you're doing with raising money and stuff via the Ironmans. But tell us about Kinder's Kids.
Yeah. So Kinder's Kids started after the tornado in Tuscaloosa. So you were still there, right?
Nope, I had just left. I was actually that was on April the 27th of 2011, and I was doing training in Minnesota.
Oh, I'm glad you weren't there. April 27th, I will remember every second of that day the rest of my life. Me and my best friend, Ben Austin, were huddled up in one of those crappy Tuscaloosa college apartments, because it was not like it is now back then.
Of course,
Saban wasn't there, and it was not the highest of class. So if that tornado had hit our house, it'd have been gone. But we were huddled up. Heard James Spann, who is the meteorologist in Alabama, for people that don't know, he told everybody there, if you can get out, leave now. Otherwise, this is going to be a very bad day. And as college kids do, we don't listen.
Nope.
Ben and I were playing MLB 2010 or 2013, whatever the version of it was when we came out. We were playing baseball on Xbox, and we had a half moon window in our front door. And I remember playing, and every once in a while, look out the window, and people were having a tornado party.
Yeah, of course.
Sitting out in the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
And then the last time I looked out, everybody was just scattering. So I opened the door, turn around and look, saw the tornado coming. So we sprint inside, get in the center of our room or center of the house in our pantry, and you start feeling the house compress. You start hearing it. And me and Ben hugged each other, said, I love you. And we said goodbye because I thought it was over. It was very close, very, very close. So after it passed, I walked out the front door and there was a car in the community pool. And I said, oh, well, that's pretty bad. And then I turned around and everything was gone. Everything was gone. There was a car in a tree. There was a lady sitting at the bottom of the tree, and I ran up to her. I said, ma'am, are you okay? She said, no, I'm fine. I was in my car during the tornado, and I climbed down the tree. I'm okay. And that blew me away. So immediately I started sprinting towards all the destruction, trying to help, as everybody in Tuscaloosa did. We're just out there trying to find people and help people. And I ran across a family standing on a concrete slab, which used to be the foundation for their home. Nothing was there, just the family and a child clutching to a teddy bear. That was the only possession they had left. And that image stuck with me to this day. And after we did all we could, years and years passed, I start touring pretty heavily, played some shows with Jason Mraz and on his rider. And a rider is like what you need backstage: towels, water, alcohol, food, stuff like that. That's what you ask the venue for. And I saw that Jason had a toy on his rider. And I asked the TM, I was like, why does he have a toy on his rider? They said, oh, he just likes to play with them. There's not much to do. He just wants to mess around and have fun. And that was the instance I realized I know what I can do. So every show I played since then, I asked for a $10 to $20 toy on my rider. We gather them throughout the year, and then we take them to an area or community affected by a natural disaster and provide these families with a Christmas that they no longer have because their community was devastated. And we've raised close to 100,000. We've given tens of thousands of toys. We team up with whoever we can to try and inflate the numbers of toys that we can give to these people that are left with nothing after these terrible instances. We went to the Carolinas for the floods last time, and I can't tell you, I love doing what me and Heather do for Kinder's kids, but every time we go to a place that has been affected by a natural disaster, it takes me right back to Tuscaloosa, and it is one of the hardest days of my life every year because I know what they're going through. I have been there, and I know what they need, and I wish I had more money and resources to give them exactly what they need. So every year we do concerts, Heather does dance classes, we do workouts to try and get more toys, get more money, and do the best we can for those in need.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Pain with purpose.
Pain with purpose.
Yeah, there's a lot there. All right, we gotta close the show soon, but before we get to the fun aspect of this, I didn't pre-plug this for you. Given where you are right now, we're gonna get you back because there's just so much more conversation that we need to have around the recovery and what life looks like as a musician that's not running around hammered. What is your definition of success right now?
Man, what a great question. And I feel like this is a loaded question and a constant evolving question, because if you'd have asked me when we had first met when I was 17 or 18, I would have told you without a doubt, I'm going to headline Bridgestone. No problem. I've got it. I know my capabilities. I am the man. God willing, I could do that one day. But when you grow up, you realize your priorities shift to things that actually matter, because headlining Bridgestone is wonderful because you're able to take care of your crew, you're able to take care of your manager, you're able to take care of your producer, you're able to take care of your entire family. But the root of that is selfish. I want to do that for me. I told this to my manager the other day. Success to me is making enough money to tell Heather she doesn't have to work another day in her life. I don't care what I have to do. If that means I have to play 5 to 1,000 cap rooms for 200 dates a year, that's what I'll do. If it gets to the point where I can sell out the Ryman in Nashville for 3 nights in a row, that means I could play 2,000 cap rooms for 100 dates a year and do the same. But the end all be all is one day sit her down, tell her, hey, baby, you can quit. We're fine.
Yeah. That's
We're
awesome,
fine.
man. That's great, man. That's just, I love it. All right. So we've got through the heavy stuff. This is one of my favorite segments. This is what I call my rapid fire round. And
Let's go, baby.
I'm going to ask questions, and it's just the whole goal here is you give us the answer, and we're going to move on. All right.
Okay.
What's the one song you wish you wrote?
Can't Make You Love Me, Bunny Rate.
Okay. What's the biggest song you've ever been a part of?
Ooh, that's a multifaceted question. That is me, or that is...
Let's go with the biggest song that you've ever soloed on, and then we'll go with the biggest song that you just have touched that your name's attached to it.
Oh, biggest song of mine is called Close.
Yeah, baby.
And
Close.
the biggest song I've been part of that's not released. I don't even know if I can say it.
Don't say it then. Let's just hold that one in the pocket.
It's with one of the biggest female country singers in the world that we wrote together, that hopefully something's going to happen very soon.
So Dolly Parton.
Oh, wish, man. Oh. So not the biggest female.
All right,
country.
hey people, that was the cliffhanger, guys. You got to follow Ryan on social media to find out what this song is. I'm excited, and I don't want to know either. The most surreal person you've ever shared a stage with? Give me two or three.
I'll give you two. One with one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten, and one that was just super cool. I got to tour with John Fogerty of CCR, and I'll try and keep this story short. I'm a big blues fan. Robert Johnson is the godfather of blues. Like, he started everything. So me and my friend, Kendrick Wallace, he had a jar of dirt, and this is illegal. We took some of Robert Johnson's grave dirt and put it in a mason jar. And I used to sit that on my amp every night just to try and get some of that Robert Johnson juju through my guitar playing.
Yeah.
And when I went on tour with Fogerty, I had read his book before, and there's a whole chapter on him going through some stuff. And he drives down to Mississippi and finds the oak tree where Robert's purportedly buried, and it was flooding, and he had a come to Jesus moment. So I knew he had something in his heart that loved Robert on a deeper level than most people have. So the last show on that tour, I brought that jar of dirt to John, and we were just talking. I asked, hey, can I have 5 with John? I just want to sit and thank him. And I brought it in, and I laid the jar of dirt in between us, and he goes, what is that? Why are you bringing me a jar of dirt? So I told him the whole story, how much Robert Johnson meant to me. I know how much Robert means to you, and I want to give you this. I have played every show of my life with this sitting on my amp, and you mean so much to me because me and my brother Ross used to cover CCR through our whole career as cover artists, and he refused it. And I said, John, if you know how much it means to me to be able to give this to you, you will take this. And he saw the passion in my eyes. And he said the coolest thing in the world. He goes, I'll take this on one condition. If I can give this back to you next time we play a show. I was like, I love you.
It's awesome.
And sorry, one more piece of advice he told me. The very first show that we played together, I had the opening slot, and we were playing 20,000 cap rooms. And if it's 30-40% full, it looks empty. And he was side stage for every single one of my sets. But the very first show, he watched me because he loves music. He picked me for a reason to open for the show.
Yeah.
So the second I got off stage, he grabbed me, said, Kinder, come here. I was like, oh, yes, sir. Fogerty is telling me to come here. I will do whatever you want. He pulled me aside, pulled me to the corner, and all he said was, don't play to the empty seats, and walked off. And it took me a long time to figure out what he was talking about. He was mind-blowing when I figured it out. Those people came early to see me.
Mhm.
Who cares about the people that aren't there?
Yeah.
Play to the people that are there.
Let's go.
And I think about that every time I walk on stage. Play to
Love
the
it.
people that are there
Yeah.
because they're there because they care.
That's right.
And the second coolest was Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top. The second show we played, his dressing room was straight across from mine. Throughout the tour, we got to know each other, and every time I passed, he would say, "Hey, what up, Kendra? How you doing?" I was like, "Oh my God, it's Billy Gibbons!" But he had a crock pot sitting outside of his dressing room, and I kind of like peeked in it, and his TM ran up to me, grabbed me, and said, "Don't effing touch that." I was confused. It's a crock pot in the middle of backstage. And she said, "Leave." And come to find out, Billy cooks his own dinner every night.
That's incredible.
In a crock pot. And sorry, two more. This was when I was drinking and Billy was drinking too. It was after the show and we were hanging out, and I had the courage to go up to Billy and say, "Hey, Billy, I mean, I'm sure you've had this question before, but I know your name's Billy F. Gibbons. What does the F stand for?" And he got real quiet, leaned in real close. "Billy F. Gibbons, the F stands for Texas." It's like, what? I love that. And then he asked me to teach him one of my guitar riffs on guitar, which made me so happy. I was like, I'm teaching Billy Gibbons how to play a guitar riff.
Golly, that's awesome. All right, last question. You get a week off, all expenses included, flight, whatever, hotel, food, you name it. Are you going to go to the lake or are you going to go to the beach?
I'm going wherever Heather wants to go.
Let's go. She's going to the lake, man. Nobody likes sand.
It's whatever mood she's in. I don't care. As long as she's happy, I am a very amenable man.
I love that.
If she's happy, I'm happy.
That's wonderful. Well, guys, we're going to wrap things up here. And I just want to say, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on to the other side of success. You've got such an incredible story and it's incredibly inspiring as well. And I hope we can get you on again. I thank you for your time. I know that it's super valuable, and there's going to be people out here that are going to listen to this that may be chasing that bike dream right now. And there's probably people in their ear at these bars telling them, "You're never going to make it. You're never going to make it." Right? What would you give them real quickly? A word of advice.
You won't make it if you give up.
I love that. Thank you for your time, Ryan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Let's do it again.
Great. Thanks for tuning in to The Other Side of Success. If today's conversation hit home, do me a favor. Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear the unpolished truth. Got someone in mind whose story needs to be told? I'm always looking for real people with real stories to join the conversation. Until next time, keep grinding, stay honest, and don't forget, success always has another side.